Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. So in today's video I'm going to be walking you through all the books that I read in July. There was a little bit more than last month, but I am still kind of in my reading slump, but there was a point within the month where I did kind of get out of it and I was like into reading again and stuff for a little bit, so I'm all over the place currently. But because of my reading slump, I feel like I am not retaining information as well as I'm supposed to be with books, so I don't know how much I'm going to remember, but we're just going to quickly discuss these books. So let's just go right into it. So the first book that I read was Our Forever, and this is the third book in the series if I remember correctly, and this was 4 stars. I kind of have the same thoughts that I did for the second book, and my review was Garrett and Louise's story is so cute. I loved how we got to read about them experiencing every part of life together. They stuck with each other through the good and bad. I love how much detail the story had. Then I read Quicksilver, and this one actually surprised me. I was expecting to go into it like liking it, but I was expecting to go into it loving it. Now it took me a little bit longer to read than I wanted to because of me being in a reading slump, but when I picked up the book I would like really enjoy it. But when I say it took me a while, what I mean is it took me a while to read like the first chunk, but then once I like sat down and made like time to actually like sit down and read it, that is when I was flying through it. So then I read Shameless by Lex Martin, and I absolutely loved this series. So I read the second book first, but then because of how much I loved that book, I decided to go back to the first book and like continue like that, because originally I was only interested in the second book because it was single dad nanny trope, but then you got a lot about the like older sister, and then I found out one of the books was the older sister, so then I obviously wanted to read about that. And obviously it's a small town romance, so you normally get like that small town feel, so I wanted to make sure I went back and read the first book. Anyway, long story short, I went back and read the first book and I rated it 5 stars. Absolutely loved. I read it so quickly I could not put this down. Yeah, so this is the first book is the older sister book, and this is where she meets Brady, who has just lost his brother in a car accident. She's just lost both of her best friends, so now they are both having to, well, mainly Brady, but she's helping, so now they're both having to raise a baby. Then I went to the third book, which I also rated 5 stars, and this is the story of Joey and Logan, who are best friends. Logan is the main male character's brother from the second book, and then Joey is obviously Logan's best friend. So this is a friends to, or should I say best friends to lovers, and again, obsessed with this book. I couldn't put it down. I'd highly recommend this whole series if you are into small town romance, but even if you are into like kind of a bit of found family, because yes, some of them are actually family, but majority of them are kind of like family. Then I read Dead Emma, and I decided to rate this 3 stars because it was definitely new and different from what I normally read, and at first I didn't know how to feel about it and I really had to think on my thoughts but eventually I did decide that I did find it interesting, and I would recommend it if you are into kind of like horror depth sibling. But yeah, she is having to, if I remember the story correctly, she's having to eat human flesh to stay alive. Well, she's not really alive, she's dead, but like to be visible she has to keep eating human flesh. Then I read Sable Peak, which is the last and final book in the Eden series, and this has been on my TBR for so long, so I'm finally glad that I'm getting it off. But I decided to rate this one 4.25 stars. This was Mateo's story, and I was intrigued by his story from the whole time, because you get like little mentions of him throughout the other books, but obviously because he was away you like didn't really know too much about him, so I was surprised when I read this book. Then I read The Broken Vows, which is the 4th book in the series, and I rated this 2 stars. I was actually like quite disappointed about this book. It's a shame because I absolutely love this series, and when I read this book I was kind of shocked. There is like a mystery aspect to it which I found interesting, but I don't know, I just felt like there was a lack of like chemistry between the characters. I was just bored most of the time. I felt like the mystery just dragged on for so long, and when it was a reveal it was kind of like disappointing and a little bit confusing. I was actually quite confused about the end, I'm not gonna lie. And then I read Love Online by Penelope Ward. I rated this 4.25 stars. I'm not gonna talk too much about this one just because it is going to be in an upcoming vlog. And then I also read Undeniable, which I rated 3 stars, which again I'm not going to talk too much about because it's going to be in an upcoming vlog. I also read I'll Give You the Sun, which I rated 2 stars. Again, I'm not going to talk about it, it's going to be in an upcoming vlog, and I do not want to spoil that vlog because I'm so excited for it to come out. Then I read Single Dad. I rated it 1 star. I don't even know why I read this. I'm actually surprised. This is Single Dad nanny trope. I'm surprised I rated it 1 star, but I did not like this one. a single bit. I don't know why, I just didn't enjoy it. I was bored, I was tempted to DNF it, but then I decided to just push through because it was a really quick read. I read The Secret Fiancé, which I also rated 2 stars. Again, you get my full thoughts and details in the bookshelf scavenger hunt, so I won't talk about this one too much. Then I read Gown Park, which I rated 4 stars. Again, I'm not going to talk about this one too much just because it is in a reading vlog. And then I read Mixed Signals by B.K. Barris, which I rated 3 stars, which again I'm not going to talk too much about because you get all of my thoughts in an upcoming vlog also, which I'm also very excited to come out, so I don't want to spoil it. And I know that's annoying because I'm just giving you my ratings to my books and not really any of my thoughts, which is not normally the way I do a wrap up, but hey, that is the way it goes. And then what I'm currently reading, which I'm like so close to being done, again I can't really talk too much about because it's for a reading vlog that is coming up. They're all the same reading vlog, by the way. And that is Love Letter to Whiskey, which is a book that I said that I would not really read just because I don't like the back and forth between a couple and stuff, and they can't decide or things get in the way and all that stuff. It really annoys me. I have to be in like the mood for that type of book. All I'm gonna say is because it's for the certain video, I decided to pick it up, and wow, that's what I'm going to say because I don't want to spoil anything. But that is the end of today's video. I'm sorry that you pretty much only got my ratings for some books, but I really don't want to spoil the vlogs that are coming out because I'm really excited for them. The one that most of the books have been read for has been in the making for a while. I planned it months ago, actually, like probably about a year ago now. I planned it a while ago, and I spent this month pretty much reading for that vlog, so that is why the majority of them I can't really talk about my thoughts for, but you do get detailed reviews in that vlog. So thank you all so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe and leave this emoji if you're watching to the end, and I hope to see you on my next one. Bye.